Hello and welcome to Pokésports, a competitive Pokemon podcast. I'm Mike and I play with one mask on my face.
I'm Kevin. I should have gotten some eye drops.
Why? What?
My eyes hurt.
Oh,
I've been
poor
staring
guy.
at bright lights in a computer screen for way too long.
So there are those who will, on DLC day, on any kind of new game drop day, download or purchase the game, maybe a midnight release, take it home, start playing a little bit, be like, yeah, I'm glad that I have this. Put it down, say, I'm going to do this in the morning, and then go and sleep. And then there's Pokésports, where we foolishly put ourselves in the category of we put out a new and relevant battle video every single day. And that makes DLC day very problematic because now we have to go and beat the game and then record, upload, and edit, not in that order, a full video on the topic.
Before noon of the following day.
Correct.
Yes.
Now I will say, welcome to the welcome to the podcast. We have pushed this by a day this week in order to get all the information and not die.
Imagine also doing a podcast while trying to beat the DLC.
Oh,
and
you wouldn't have. You straight up wouldn't have. Yeah, because what tell them the story of how you got today's video out.
Oh, okay. So, I was at work when the DLC officially dropped. I believe the DLC dropped 9 Eastern, and I only left work at 11, got home around 11:30. So I already started late. I was already, okay, I'm 2.5 hours behind. Everyone else is for some reason, my brain, I think that everyone's racing me, but I know that people are just probably playing the game and enjoying themselves. But I thought they were all racing me. So I'm like, okay.
Dialogue.
They're all 2.5 hours ahead of me. I gotta get home and get through it. So I got home. Download takes so long. It takes 30 minutes just to download. It was a hefty update. But I got through the earlier parts of the game. I think while I was at work, I was also checking Discord because FOMO was hitting me, and I think Bruno, I believe, sent a tweet that said, oh, in order to get Blood Moon Ursaluna, you have to get 150 Pokemon caught in Kitakami. And I was like, of course you do. Because why wouldn't you? I mean, why is the one thing? Because I had this plan for weeks. I wanted to do Blood Moon day one because I like Ursaluna. I think it's a great Pokemon. I think it's a really nice thumbnail. I had the thumbnail done before
Yes, you did.
I even got the DLC done. So I was like, of course, I got to get 150 Pokemon. But then I was like, oh, it includes the Scarlet and Violet decks. I'm like, oh, I have that one done. So that's great. So I really only needed 50. But still, 50 Pokemon is still time consuming. You got to find 50 new random friends, make sure they stay in a ball, which is kind of hard to do when they're all level 70s. You know, they're all level 70s. They just got to quick ball and pray. So
I love that you brought that up because there's a bit of an issue that happened for me.
Yeah.
So while Kevin was up all night progressing through the game and getting Blood Moon Ursaluna, I was playing on my English copy. So I have had 2 copies that I've been running with for this entire time that Scarlet and Violet's been out. I have my Australian version and I have my Canadian version. I use the Australian one initially so that we can get, play a little bit early. It's a whole thing. But because this was a global release, we didn't have to worry about that this time. Yes, I love that they did that. 9 p.m. because there's no physical copy, of course. That's the reason why they could do this. 9 p.m. That's when it dropped Eastern time. So I was able to download it and play it on my English copy. Now, I switched over to the English copy so that I could go to competitive places and use my existing Play Pokemon code, which is linked to my account, which is my English copy. Now, I was still playing through that in order to beat the game and, have the game beaten. Yeah. But the problem was I didn't get that done. Right. So I've beaten 8 gyms at this point. I have beaten all the 5 Titans. I've done like maybe 2 or 3 of the Team Star battles. So I download the DLC, and it lets you go into Kitakami like as early as possible. They want you getting in there and experiencing the game. So I didn't have to beat the game to get in there. All of the levels seem to scale to something. And I'm not sure what they scale to, because sometimes Pokemon were level 20. Most of the time, Pokemon were level 20. Other times, Pokemon were level 30. A couple times, I got a Spinnerack that was level 53. So I don't know what it scaled
hit
to.
The gym, man.
But it was a very easy time because I just ran through it with my level 75 Fuecoco 1, which is the, what's his name? Oh, man, what's his name? Not Crocolore. The thing the crocodile Skeledirge. It's such a weird name compared to whatever. Anyway, so I had
the problem here is you. It's not the game though.
Oh,
it's because you have one level 75 Skeledirge, and that's it. Like you mono Skeledirge the whole game is what happened.
Yeah. So not only were the levels kind of messed up, but I also didn't have nearly all of the Pokemon. On my Australian copy, I have all of the 400 Pokemon in the first section. So that would have been fun.
There's no hope for you then.
Kitakami, yeah. But for this one, I have to go and catch 150 of these guys. And I'm like, I'm not even part of the way there now. I think I'm like 70. I'm doing this fun thing where like I have my level 100 Pokemon on top, and then I have 5 other like guys I need to evolve. And so I just grind through with those. Up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you check your Pokedex rewards?
I have.
Okay. So I think one of them is an EXP charm or something. I know you get the EXP charm somewhere in Kitakami, which boosts how much EXP you get.
Yes. Yeah, levels. I did get that earlier on. I don't remember what the requirements of that are.
Yeah, something happens.
You
end
have to
up
do
with
something.
It. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you know what it was? You have to do the ogre catching balloon popping game.
Yes, the balloon popping game that I found incredibly easy. Anyway, back to like my story.
No. I need to talk about this for a second because, dude, it was so easy. They
really
make
easy.
This big deal about like, oh, watch out for the Greedent.
I've never seen this Greedent once in my life.
Because you can just go and collect all of the balloons before you go and drop them off. So,
do they think we're going to go back and forth each time?
I think
for each color? I ain't doing that. Why would I do that?
So my Dandori is so good, man.
It was literally a Dandori battle.
It was a Dandori battle. Anyway, sorry. Continue with your story.
So yeah, by the time I actually got the Blood Moon, I ended up, it ended up being like maybe 5:30 in the morning by the time I actually got there. The second I get the Blood Moon is guaranteed 3 perfect IV stats. And of course, with my Kevin Luck, I got HP. Sounds pretty good, right? Attack. Nah. And then speed.
No.
As my 3 perfect IVs. And the game makes it so complicated to reset for, to the point where if it wasn't 5 a.m., I might have tried 2 more times, but I just said, okay, I guess I'm a 31 IV, 31 attack, and speed Ursaluna. So I just, IV'd the rest and went with it.
And people still had the gall in the comment section to be like, hey, where'd you get that Ursaluna?
Oh, yeah, I bet you got that totally legitimately. Yes, actually.
it was the most legitimately that you could get an Ursaluna.
Listen, there are some times where I'm like, okay, maybe you guys have a point. You can call me out on this, but that was the one time you can't call me out on that one.
Yeah. Did you at least talk about that in the video? How like your HP, attack, and speed were all 31 IVs?
I did mention it, but I kept in the Pokepaste, I had 0 attack and 0 speed, because if you're running this on Showdown, you would want to have those things. Right. But I guess people were just looking at the Pokepaste and assumed that the Pokepaste was a 1-to-1 copy of what the rental code is.
Yeah, was a dictation of what your video was. Like, nah, come on. This, in an ideal world, this is what you're going to want to play with.
Yeah, but we just want to see the pretty colors and animation.
Yeah, exactly. We'd all be playing Showdown if we didn't like that.
It's not like it'll make a huge difference. I'm sure it made 0 difference, those battles. It's still a quiet nature. I still minted it to be everything perfectly fine. It's just,
Sometimes
the
it
speed
matters.
is 31. Yeah. It's just sometimes it might matter a few times.
Yeah.
But
this is talking about like between a speed tie with another Ursaluna, because like we'll talk about the stats later, but like it's in a weird speed tier. It's sitting in a very weird speed amount. There is no other Pokemon that I can think of that has a 52 in speed.
It almost feels like it's intentional, and it's intentional for a reason. The one that rings out at me is obviously other Ursaluna, a physical variant.
Sure.
Or Iron Hands. Iron Hands was speed time with Ursaluna before, and now you're just like guaranteed faster than Iron Hands, but also guaranteed not faster than Iron Hands if the Trick Room is up.
Wait, so what is Iron Hands?
I think also 50.
Ah.
So yeah, you're definitely speed creeping that 50 tier, but if you're in Trick Room, you're not anymore. So there is a double-edged sword there.
Right. That's interesting.
But what's even more interesting is that Game Freak, whether they meant to or not, decided to allow Ogerpon, all forms of Ogerpon, Fezandipiti, Munkidori, and Okidogi to Regulation D now?
Yeah, okay, let's talk about that there. They're just here now.
I'm just mentioning that.
Yeah.
I'm mentioning that because I was like, oh, they let those in? They definitely let Blood Moon in. Let me go play with Blood Moon on the ranked ladder. I couldn't. Blood Moon isn't allowed for some reason. So I had to play casual ladders, which was a little bit sad because that took me a very long time to find 4 good battles. I was up until 7 a.m.
Sure. We appreciate you for it. Thank you very much, Kevin.
I'm done complaining now.
Yep. That's for you. That's for you, bud. Yeah, today we're going to be talking about all the Pokemon that are still allowed in Regulation D because we now have those changes. We have a bunch of Pokemon that were not allowed in Regulation D, but will be coming in Regulation E, most likely, unless they make different changes. We're going to be talking about the small amount of Pokemon that were allowed in or that were created for this game. And, you know, we're also going to let you know about some of the Pokemon that are coming into the game in Regulation E. Those are different things, I promise you. We've also got Pittsburgh to talk about, so let's just jump right into it, okay?
Some stats, some numbers.
Some stats, numbers, all that good math stuff that makes podcast good listening. Yeah. Let's talk about the Pokemon that are coming into Kitakami. So here we go. We've been waiting for the Teal Mask for a little bit. When we got, when we got teasers on what Poltchageist and Sinistcha and Dipplin and stuff were, we were like, yeah, awesome. They're bringing in some new Pokemon. Cool. I didn't realize that would be it.
They did kind of throw everything at us except for the new Ursaluna form.
Right.
And I guess Sinistcha, they didn't officially reveal. They even did a little bit of the name flipping just to confuse us.
That's true. Because Sinistcha evolves into Poltchageist.
Yeah. And now Poltchageist evolves into Sinistcha. So, okay. They got us.
Do you think they forgot? Maybe they just forgot.
Maybe they just got it confused. But honestly, yeah, I'm kind of there with you. But the one thing that kind of makes me okay with that, is that the story was a lot more engaging than the Isle of Armor was, because Isle of Armor was a fetch quest. This was kind of a fetch quest, but at least there was like, the NPCs had emotion. It's not like you're talking to Hop and Hop's telling you about type matchups every single time. Like, they had actual feelings. They actually felt jealousy, sadness, excitement. It was weird to experience.
Like I was like, whoa. That, yeah. The first little bit does feel a little bit like, hey, let's take you on a tour of the land. How about you go over here? How about you go over there? How about you go over this way and take selfies at all of these places? And it's like, okay, I guess I will. I think the problem here, this would be great if I was new to the game. So if I was just buying the game now and got the game plus the DLC, I would love to go in while Koraidon sucks. But because I'm now at a point where Koraidon can jump really high, climb mountains and fly super far, Like I'm beelining to each of the little flags on my map, and I'm not experiencing the game the way the game.
There's a
wants
lot
me
of
to
stuff that
experience
I
it.
skipped over. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that you think about it, I'm like, oh, I could go around and take this path, or I can climb this mountain and get there in half the time.
Right. There's a lot of things that, like, through ease of access, this game has done, through optimization, this game has done, that now makes me actively aware that I am missing out on an experience, because like they've taken out trainer battles. If you don't want to battle a trainer, stop talking to the trainers. If you don't want to battle a Pokemon, don't run into the Pokemon. And like, I actively avoid all of those things now. And now I'm also actively avoiding the terrain because I can just jump over it. Like,
too much freedom is bad. Yes.
I'm playing Minecraft creative mode on Pokemon, which I don't hate, mind you, because the story's good, but like, you have to make a good story in order for me to not hate this game overall.
Yeah.
And thankfully they did that with this. So
I do also like how they leave it as at a cliffhanger, so it makes us actually want to play part 2, and the characters will transfer over into part 2 most likely, since they are from Blueberry Academy and we're going to be going to that place in the next DLC. But yeah, hey,
when you say they lead you off into the Indigo Disc, do you mean that like they said, sorry, BRB, gotta go to the Indigo Disc now?
No, well, they said something's happening, gotta go.
That's true.
Well, what's happening?
To be continued. Yeah.
Yeah, what's happening?
What is it? Gotta wait until fall 2023. So it's winter, actually. It's actually not that long.
I think it'll be here actually sooner than we anticipate, which is
next week. Please don't do this to me again.
I do think before the end of the year. Like, I could see a December release for this, like right before the holidays, trying to sell some extra copies. Like, I can definitely see that.
Sure.
Like maybe first, second week of December.
This was short enough, this game, that I feel like they could package on a second part pretty quickly. Yeah.
Yeah, I burned through it fast. Like, I think maybe like 10-hour playtime, 12-hour playtime I was done with it. I was already catching. I feel
like, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you didn't go for Blood Moon.
That's true. If I did go for Blood Moon, it would take me probably another 3 hours. I'm probably 3 hours away from Blood Moon or Ursaluna. Okay, so let's talk about that. We have new Pokemon that have dropped with the Teal Mask. New to the game, or new to the series, we have much less. We have 8 Pokemon that have joined us.
It's crazy, yeah.
In this DLC, we've got Ursaluna, which you're like, oh, wait a second, there is Ursaluna already. No, we've got Blood Moon Ursaluna, Dipplin, Poltchageist, Sinistcha, Okidogi, Munkidori, Fezandipiti, and Ogerpon. Can we talk about Okidogi, Munkidori, and Fezandipiti though?
Yeah, sure.
I love those.
I like how his tongue is sticking out. I didn't actually like when you battle Okidogi. Okidogi's tongue just sticks out. Yeah.
Oh.
Was that just my game?
Maybe that was broken.
It was like
the
whole time. It was looking at you like this.
I thought his mouth was just open, but now I'm gonna have to look out for that. That's cool. Okay,
I love these things. I think they're really cool. I'm not so sure how they are competitively, but I think they have an interesting typing, an interesting ability. I feel like a lot of people are disappointed with the hidden abilities. And I can kind of get behind that. Which one? Let's start with one. Which one are we looking at first?
Let's talk about Okidogi.
Okay. We got Okidogi, poison and fighting type, the retainer Pokemon.
They're all the retainer Pokemon. Yeah.
Oh, they're all the retainer Pokemon. Original ability is Toxic Chain. If you guys don't know what Toxic Chain is, pretty much every single time you use a move, there is a chance that you badly poison somebody. That is not only contact, that is also special attacks. I have experienced that, unfortunately. Yes. And the hidden ability is Guard Dog. Usually only exclusive to Mabostiff. Guard Dog is now on Okidogi. Pretty much, you get an attack boosted if you get Intimidate, and it prevents being forced to switch out. Interesting. I mean, hey, an attack boost when you get Intimidated is always nice. But I'm kind of on the fence of which is better.
I think Toxic Chain is actually better than Guard Dog in this situation.
I think there's definitely situations for both, but I think more commonly you'd want Toxic Chain too. But I'm not sure. It just depends on how much Intimidate you're seeing.
to give you an overview of these three Pokemon, they all have a base stat total of 555, which is higher than some final evolutions, but lower than a lot of other final evolutions. Right now, we're seeing a lot of final evolutions landing in around like the 570-ish area to manage the power creeping that's going on in this game. But 555 is a good, strong amount. Like that is a good stat total for a Pokemon to have, depending on what the distribution is like. For Okidogi, it's pretty good. Because I usually judge these Pokemon, the ones that attack anyway, by which one that they don't use is low, like how low it is. So between attack and special attack, its special attack is only at 58, which is low, which is great, which means that the 555 minus 58, so the 498 seven, thank you, is distributed among relevant stats.
The important stats, yeah.
So it's pretty good. We've got 80 base speed, so it's not the fastest, but it's not the slowest. It's pretty good.
Same speed as Gallade, same speed as Gardevoir, Goodra.
Sure.
Yeah,
sure.
Those kind of mons. It's in that speed tier.
Defense 115 and special defense 86. I always look at special defense with a grain of salt because if a Pokemon has enough attacks, you can just slap an assault vest on that and like effectively increase that by 50%. So you could have a special defense stat of 129, which is pretty sweet, with a defense stat of 115 and HP stat of 88. So like it's good. That's good. But its attack stat is really high, 128. I think
the biggest issue that I see with Okidogi is its HP stat. I feel like just looking at this Pokemon, I expected that to be a little bit higher, but I also can't complain too much because, like you said, you can stick an Assault Vest on this thing, give it more relevant special defense, and I think you do want to stick an Assault Vest on it because it does get a lot of moves. And the cool thing about this is that it also has access to a lot of dark moves, but it's not a dark type. But with Poison and Fighting being 4 times weak to Psychic, you wouldn't mind a Dark Terra type at all. So you can get a Dark Terra type, be Poison and Fighting, and then just cover all your bases, have 3 stabs essentially.
That's kind of what I like about Scarlet and Violet right now is that I'm pretty sure the people who are developing these Pokemon know understand the gimmick pretty well.
God, so I hope
when they see when they see a poison fighting type Pokemon, they're like, oh yeah, that thing's weak to Psychic. The people are going to want to terrestrialize that a lot. What if we gave it a lot of dark moves? It's like, yeah, awesome. I think each one of these 3 Pokemon in some way is going to want to potentially terrestrialize dark because they are all poison type. But we'll get to that when we get to Fezandipiti. But it gets a lot of good attacking moves, mostly physical attacking moves. So you know what you're going to do on this, and everybody knows.
Gets Poison Jab, gets Drain Punch, gets Elemental Punches, gets Close Combat, Crunch, Last Shout, Knockoff. There's a lot of options here. Even gets Outrage if you really want to go crazy. So, I mean, out of the 3, Okidogi might be winning. I know we haven't talked about the other 2, but this is looking pretty solid. Whether or not it'll make a serious impact in the meta is yet to be seen. But hey, it's a lot on the ranked ladder.
Yeah. No priority moves as far as I can see so far.
Yes. And also not a lot of spread moves.
Right.
Spread moves are really convenient with Toxic Chain because that just increases your chance to get a badly poison significantly.
I do think this Pokemon is going to be really good in singles. Really good in singles. I'm really interested to see how that turns out later on. But yeah, let's go into Munkidori. Munkidori, again, 555 base stats. Its attack, which it is not an attacker, it's a special attacker for sure. Its attack sits at 75, so a little bit higher than Okidogi's special attack was. Okidogi was 58. Munkidori is 75. That's not great, meaning that the rest of them distributed all right. All of them have actually a base HP stat of 88, I'm noticing.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Which isn't 8 a lucky number in some cultures?
Well, it is now. It's a lucky number for Pokésports.
Anyway, cool. Special attack 130. This is a special attacker. It's the highest speed of the 3. at 108, 106. So it's pretty fast.
It's your standard glass cannon, I feel. A base 106 poison and psychic type.
Okay.
That, has base 130 special attack. I noticed that while fighting this, it does get nasty plot, and it was the hardest one to beat for me because it did set up the +6, and it did make me very sad. But my problem with this Pokemon is its lack of like coverage moves. I'm looking at them, I'm getting it, but you really only can do like maybe psychic, sludge bomb, nasty plot, and fake out. Like that's your set.
Sure.
Because everything else is just a little disappointing. It gets a lot of physical moves for some reason, but you don't want to go physical on this Pokemon at all. Like Poltergeist, like Lash Out. Like it gets ghost moves, but none of them. I mean, maybe Shadow Ball as an option.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
But at that point, you're saying like, oh, am I not going to bring Fake Out so that I can bring Shadow Ball? Or am I not going to bring one of my inherent stabs so that I can bring Shadow Ball? And it's like, I don't know if I want to do that.
A base 106 speed Fake Out is really nice. You're pretty much always outspeeding every other Fake Out that exists unless you're going against like a Mienshao. The only thing that, not the only thing, but one of the things that I'm a little bit disappointed with is the hidden ability on this guy's Frisk.
Yeah.
Who cares? We got open team sheets, my guy. I don't need Frisk.
Frisk, for those who don't know because you never use it, the Pokemon can check a foe's held item with that. Mm-hmm. But really, like, why? No, I don't need that.
I don't need this. It's not relevant.
Yeah. But other than that, like, the Pokemon is what it looks like. It does big damage, and also it has Fake Out. So like that's that Pokemon.
Mm. Yeah. It's interesting. I don't think it'll make a big difference. If you had to ask me between Okidogi and Munkidori, I choose Okidogi for sure.
Well, let's get into this next one because that one's pretty interesting. By the way, Munkidori, I don't know if we said, is poison and psychic. I don't know if you're going to want to terrestrialize this into things that aren't its own type.
Probably just psychic, I think, would be a better one. Like maybe psychic in the psychic terrain next to Indeedee. You can like redirect, follow me, nasty plot turn 1, and then just like have psychic and psychic terrain.
If this thing got expanding force, it would be like,
cracked.
Disgusting.
It would go from being awful to broken because that means you can have expanding force plus toxic chain and get badly poisoned on the expanding force. That would be really, really bad.
Oh boy. Then last up of the trio there, we've got Fezandipiti, which is a poison fairy type. This is a fairy, one of these guys. 555 base stat total with 88 HP. Kind of a mixed attacker in this way. We've got attack 91, special attack 70. I'm not sure what they did on this one, but they kind of lowered both of those stats so that they could give it a lot of speed at 99 and a lot of defense and special defense at 82 and 125 respectively. I mean, that's chunky.
I don't agree. I don't like it. I'm looking at this and I'm a little bit disappointed with these base stats. It doesn't know what it wants to do. Like either be defensive, be a special attacker, or be physical. It's trying to be all three at once, and that's a little concerning. Well, but hey,
I will say, and spoilers for those who are playing through the Teal Mask right now and trying to, well, we've crossed that bridge a long time ago. I apologize. During the battle, it did kind of showcase some of the things that it does. Like that's what it's made there to do, right? It had 3 non-attacking moves and beat up, which made it the easiest battle in a way for me to actually complete. But it had swagger, flatter, beat up, and roost, which kind of shows that like, yeah, okay, it's good as a flatter user, as a swagger user. Beat up is interesting because it's a multi-hit move. And toxic chain on a multi-hit move does mean that like you're highly likely to poison your opponent, which is great.
Yeah. And unlike the other two that we talked about, Fezandipiti does actually get spread moves.
Yes.
It gets Icy Wind for some speed control. It also gets Heat Wave.
Gets Dazzling Gleam, which is stab.
It gets a lot of spread moves. So the one thing that Fezandipiti has above the other ones is Toxic Chain plus the spread moves. It might not be doing a lot of damage, but you will be getting a lot of poisons.
Right.
So,
I mean, you could go for a Nasty Plot and Dazzling Gleam from Fezandipiti. That could be something. But I don't know. I don't feel like poison is enough of a defensive type to add on to Fairy and make it good.
Yeah, I can get behind that. Yeah. But I mean, they all had to be poison because they all had to be mean to the grass type.
Oh, sure. Yeah, they're the toxic trio for sure. The loyal trio.
I guess we'll find out what Fezandipiti does, whether or not it'll impact it.
Find out what that Fezandipiti do. Its hidden ability is Technician, which is interesting, but I think with a Pokemon like this, it doesn't make it better because its attack stat isn't great. Its special attack stat isn't great. And Toxic Chain is interesting enough that if you're going to be bringing this thing in as a tank / poison maker,
poison
that's that's what you need to choose. So
tank / poison doer.
Yeah, this thing does poison. So Fezandipiti's there. It's interesting. Ogerpon.
Ogerpon is surprising to me. I can go on for days about Ogerpon, dude. This thing is cracked.
welcome to Ogerpon. We have 4 different forms that Ogerpon can take. Can either be in the Teal Mask, Wellspring Mask, Hearthflame Mask, or Cornerstone Mask. I am not sure, but I actually think about this now, that it does show in Team Preview which one it is, does it not?
Yeah, it does show.
Yeah,
it's a completely different form in Team Preview.
Phew. So let's talk about the stats first. Ogerpon has 550 base stats. It was built as like the guy that the bigger Pokemon picked on. So like thematically, it makes sense that it has 5 less. Yeah. It has 80 base HP, 120 base attack, and we're going to get into why that's insane later. Defense 84, special defense 96, and speed 110. So it's faster than every single one of those 3.
Because it has to run away.
It has 120 base attack, 60 base special attack. You're not going to want to build this thing as a special attacker. You're always going to want to build this thing as a physical attacker for sure. And depending on which one of those masks that I said earlier, it has a secondary typing of water, fire, or rock. If you just have the Teal Mask, it is just grass.
So Ogerpon is interesting in the sense that it takes terrestrialization to a whole other level. All of the masks and all of the terrestrialization that Ogerpon does essentially grants it an extra ability. It Calyrexes it. So, for example, when it comes to the Teal Mask, you start off with the ability Defiant, and then if you decide to terrestrialize, you get Embody Aspect, which then boosts your speed by 1 stage. If you're the Wellspring Mask, you have the ability Water Absorb, and then when you terrestrialize, you gain Embody Aspect and you get some special defense boost. Hearthflame is Mold Breaker and you get an attack boost, which is like one of the more popular ones right now is the Hearthflame.
Yep.
And then Cornerstone, you have Sturdy and you gain a defense boost. This is kind of nuts because I don't know if you've experienced it so far. It's actually doing really good on the ladder. Something that I tried today. It was a lot of fun. Is the cool thing about Teal Mask is that typically when people look at this, they're like, oh, I want to try the grass water one, the grass fire one, because it's grass fire and that's cool. But you're item locked on the Wellspring, the Hearthflame, and the Cornerstone. You're not item locked on the Teal Mask. So what I ended up doing is I was running Weakness Policy next to a U-turn booster energy boosted iron bundle.
You would.
I would terrestrialize. You turn into myself, crack the Weakness Policy, swap into a Chenpao. I got the +1 in speed from the Embody Aspect. I got the +2 in attack. I got the ×2 stab on the grass because you are technically a grass Terra.
Yep.
Brother, I was blowing them up with Ivy Cudgels.
Ivy Cudgel. So Ivy Cudgel is a crazy attack, 100 base power, 100 accuracy, high chance to crit, and it becomes whatever type your Ogerpon
Your mask
becomes.
is.
Yeah, your mask is. So either it's grass, water, fire, or rock. If you have this, so just to illustrate again, the amount of damage that Kevin just did.
You can one-shot Iron Hands that are max HP.
Yeah, you can. Of course you can. I have not even seen that happen, and I know it can happen because you have 120 base attack. I'm just going to fire out numbers here. 120 base attack.
If you guys want to see any of this, by the way, it's coming out literally today. So check out YouTube. I do it, and it does damage. 120
base attack on a 100 power move that has a high chance to crit. So if you crit, you're doing even more than that. You terrastalize, so double that again. Why don't you? And then you have weakness policy, so double that again. Why don't you? The amount of damage in that is just, oh man, that does so much.
And then the battle that it happened in, I got intimidated too, so I was Defiant boosted.
Oh, Kevin, this couldn't have worked out better for you. I need you to clip that. I need you to clip that like now.
It exists.
Send that over to me. Does the clip exist?
No. I just recorded this maybe like 30 minutes before this podcast. That's why I was so excited to talk about Ogerpon today. I was just like, I love this thing.
While you're editing that, just clip it, send it to me. I will fire that out everywhere.
But yeah, I honestly wasn't expecting Ogerpon to be any good. I thought that out of every Pokemon that they showed us so far, Ogerpon was gonna be the worst, whatever, gimmicky, whatever it is. It's actually crazy. Its stats are very well distributed. It goes fast, it hits hard, it doesn't die to one shot, so you can actually run things like weakness policy on it. Yep. Its move pool, it gets things like Spiky Shield. Which was
really?
Yeah, it gets Spiky. You can run Spiky Shield instead of Protect and get some chip damage on opponents. Ivy Cudgel, we've already talked about.
Yep.
I'm gonna get back to Ivy Cudgel because there's something else that's worth mentioning with it. Every grass move you can ever imagine: Wood Hammer, Power Whip, Horn Leech for like if you want to go like a tankier build. It also gets Follow Me, which is like kind of very rare. Like not a lot of Pokemon get it to the point where some Pokemon are good only because they get that move. Gets every single weather move, which is weird. Things like Play Rough, Helping Hand, Knock Off, Lash Out, Solar Blade. Even gets Grassy Glide if you want to run it next to a Rillaboom.
It gets Grassy Glide? Oh my gosh, it gets Grassy Glide.
Wee! Priority!
Oh my gosh.
So the crazy thing about Ivy Cudgel is the reason why Pokemon like Hisui and Arcanine were popular for a time in Regulation D is because it was a very fast rock type move that was reliable.
Right.
Like a very fast rock slide is always great. With Cornerstone Mask, you now have a base 100 rock move that is physical and doesn't miss and can crit. Just to put that into perspective.
Stomping Tantrum.
That's not a rock move.
Oh.
That's a ground move.
Oh.
Rock is really good offensively to the point where we were running Rock Slide, which isn't that good of a move, but it's our best option. Yeah. Now you have a lot better rock move option here on Ogerpon, and you just kind of get it for free.
That's wonderful. Wow. Yeah, I'm trying to think of like the rock move that we stick with.
It's Rock Slide.
It's Rock Slide.
Even in singles, it's Rock Slide. There's no other physical rock. Like you're not gonna go for Rock Blast.
Sure.
I guess Head Smash, but you'll just miss and recoil yourself the whole time.
I'm sorting all of these by power. Oh, there's Power Gem, I guess. That's a special attack. Stone Edge is that power, but with 20 less accuracy, but also a high crit ratio. So it's not as much of a power creep.
You have a Stone Edge that doesn't miss.
Yeah.
Doesn't that sound great? That sounds great.
Doesn't that sound amazing? Wow. Yeah. We really haven't gotten that many rock moves at high power.
A rock is really good offensively, not very good defensively. It's kind of like its double-edged sword. Same thing with ice.
Which is why a lot of rock Pokemon are built super defensively, because it has such a bad defensive typing.
Yeah. So yeah, that's Ogerpon, guys.
That's what do you think? Go and have fun. And those Pokemon are now all allowed in Regulation D.
Yeah.
Not sure why, but there they are.
They're here for some reason. Get used to it.
Yep. Let's talk about the 4 Pokemon that are not allowed in Regulation D. We've got Poltchageist and Sinistcha. Sinistcha is a grass ghost type Pokemon. Abilities are either Hospitality or Heat Proof. Hospitality partially restores an ally's HP when it enters the battle, a la Lunar Blessing. So, kind of cool.
Yeah.
High special attack, mid speed, decent-ish defenses, and low-ish HP at 71, if you consider 71 low base HP. It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. I think the only thing that it really has going for it is Hospitality.
Sure.
Just because that's such a unique ability. It's nice getting a heal up for you and your ally. It's a 25% heal for yourself. I think that was what was confirmed. The other cool thing it has going for it is Strength Sap. It's a very exclusive move. Not a lot of Pokemon get that move. And if you've ever experienced Strength Sap, it's hilarious how much you heal back from Strength Sap. And also Matcha Gotcha seems kind of interesting. The user fires a blast of tea that it mixed. The user's HP is restored up to half of the damage taken by the target. This also may leave the user or the target with a burn. So you can burn, maybe, and you heal up to half of the damage taken. It's a weird move.
That's Giga Drain, right?
It's Giga Drain that can burn.
It's Giga Drain that can burn, has 90% accuracy, and has 80 power.
Also, you were wondering which Pokemon gets Scald. This is one of the Pokemon that gets Scald.
Oh. There it is.
They just updated. Okay. There's currently 2 Pokemon in the DLC that can learn Scald.
Okay.
Milotic and Poltchageist.
Amazing. Amazing. Because we were wondering, because we saw the list of all of the TMs that were added to the game. We got some good ones, right? We've got like Toxic and Gravity, Bug Bite, and High Horsepower has finally been added. That's awesome. Weather Ball, Burning Jealousy, Grassy Glide, Flip Turn, Dual Wing Beat, Poltergeist, Lash Out, Scale Shot, Misty Explosion, but also Scald. And we made a point of saying on the podcast very early on that like Scald has been removed from a lot of Pokemon in this generation. And so we were curious, like, did they add it back with this TM? And so far, it doesn't look like it. It looks like it's Sinistcha and Milotic.
Very limited, yes. But I kind of get it with Milotic. That's like kind of Milotic's only good water move.
Yeah.
So please don't remove it from Milotic.
We want Milotic at least to be a little relevant.
Mm-hmm.
So,
hey, anyway. Who knows? It's not the only water type competitive user anymore.
No. We'll talk about that one in a second. We've got Dipplin, which is Kieran's Pokemon. It's got 3 abilities. Super Sweet Syrup, which lowers opponent's evasiveness when entering battle. Gluttony, which encourages the use of a held berry. And Sticky Hold, which prevents the Pokemon from item theft. You're most likely always going to be using Super Sweet Syrup if you use that. Yeah, and you're always going to be using Dipplin with some kind of strategy in mind. You do not want to bring a Dipplin just to bring a Dipplin. You're not going to win that way.
Yeah, you need some kind of thought process, whether it's you're using a hustle Pokemon, whether you're using things like Hydro Pump. Dipplin and Iron Bundle might actually be a very decent core next to each other.
Sure.
I'm surprised by what they did to the stats because the Flapple Appleton situation was that they have the exact same base stats and they were very clearly, hey, one is attacking and special attacking, one is special defense and physical defense. So I was like, what are they going to do to Dipplin? They kind of just gave it everything.
Yeah.
And gave it no speed, which I am totally cool for. Like, welcome to Trick Room, friend.
Yeah. Dipplin has been an interesting Pokemon to look at. Yeah, 40 base speed, 80 in HP, attack, and special defense. So interesting. But defense is 110, special attack is 95. Its attack is a little higher than I would have liked, but maybe in some cases you do want to actually make Dipplin a physical attacker, but very, very, very seldom do you actually want to do that. Yeah, but with 95 special attack, that's pretty good.
Hey, it gets recover. It gets Syrup Bomb, which lowers the target's speed each turn for 3 turns. So it's a -1, -2, -3. So that's kind of cool. It's super supportive. Has moves like Infestation, which locks the opponent in, keeps them on the field, and then does damage to them for turns on end. Gets Pollen Puff. Even gets Gyro Ball.
Is Dipplin supposed to be a Pokemon that you attack your own Pokemon with mostly?
It could.
Because that, where is it? That Syrup Bomb.
Okay.
So you use it the first turn, it lowers the speed. Use that on a Pokemon that uses Trick Room on the first turn. You can use that on now any Pokemon, by the way. You don't need to use it on just a Trick Room Pokemon. You can bring a kind of faster guy and just, Syrup Bomb it. Trick Room on that first turn. Second turn, you get hit with a second part of Syrup Bomb, and you get now the -2 speed. Now you're even faster because you're in Trick Room. I don't know. This might be something.
I think there's definitely a meta and a team for this Pokemon. I feel like it might be a while till we find out what it is.
Sure.
I'm gonna be real. Like Dracozolt, for example, is screaming out to me. Remember that thing gets hustled. That thing hurts a lot. Having it next to a Dipplin, it won't be able to miss its moves anymore. I don't want to have a choice scarfed Dracozolt running at me with a Bolt Beak. That's gonna destroy me. So hey, we'll see.
Maybe.
We'll see what the future holds for our friend Dipplin here.
And then last but not least, the last of the 8 Pokemon newly created in the Teal Mask. We've got Ursaluna Blood Moon. Just kind of a little treat that everybody got in the Teal Mask. It was very like outside of the rest of the theme of everything. Thematically, the Pokemon makes sense, but like Dipplin was used by a trainer. Poltchageist was used by a trainer. The whole loyalty trio and Ogerpon were all very core to the story. Ursaluna is just like, yeah, that's what that is in that corner of the map.
Go to the Timeless Forest.
Yeah. We were hoping that it would be Steel normal. I remember we said that to like fully counter the Fluttermane.
Yeah.
It wasn't there. It didn't hit. That's okay. Ground and normal is still a really good typing.
There's nothing wrong with that typing. What I'm surprised by is the direction they went with this.
Okay.
Because we all knew, well, not everyone, but Mike and I knew that Blood Moon was coming.
Yeah.
But we didn't know stats. We knew nothing. They did a very good job, by the way, keeping stats and keeping abilities really hidden. No one knew what they were until the DLC actually dropped.
Yep.
So kudos to whoever's job that is. The interesting thing is that I never expected they were just going to take Ursaluna and make it a special attacker.
Yeah, right.
That was not on my prediction list at all. They were like, you know what? I'll give you base 135 special attack. Congratulations, you now hit as hard as a Fluttermane. Like, what?
Oh, all right. Maybe. Cool.
So, yeah, that's on top of like just pretty much the perfect stat distribution. Again, we see it with Ursaluna is just always having a perfect stat distribution.
Yeah.
Base 113 HP, base 70 attack that you're not really using, 120 defense, 135 special attack, 65 special defense, which kind of just means run a Solvest and you'll be fine, and then 52 speed. Weird that it's 52, but it's 52.
Yeah, we said this earlier. That puts it at the same amount of speed as like close to Iron Hands and Ursaluna regular mode, where those are both sitting at 50. If you have 0 speed IVs, like no speed investment at all on Ursaluna Blood Moon, normal Ursaluna, and an Iron Hands, your Ursaluna Blood Moon will outspeed those two when you're not in Trick Room.
Mm-hmm.
So there is precedent for actually having this Pokemon in and knowing your speed tiers there. But if you find yourself in Trick Room, against those other Pokemon, you will get hit before you make your move. No speed ties there.
I think if this is allowed in the meta, it's gonna definitely be played on some teams. Mind's Eye as an ability too is kind of interesting. Mind's Eye, you essentially ignore changes to the opponent's evasiveness, and your actually can't be lowered. You could also hit ghost types with normal and fighting type moves. So it's
beautiful.
It's scrappy but better.
Yeah,
scrappy beyond. And on top of that, have you heard of Blood Moon? The exclusive move it has?
I have not.
Oh my, I'm about to blow your mind. So Blood Moon is a normal type Gigaton Hammer that is a special attack.
Oh.
Yeah, base 150 special normal type move that, mind you, can hit ghost types that you can't use back to back.
Interesting.
I think it's pretty good. That the reason why I think it's pretty good is because this Pokemon also gets Hyper Voice, so you could just recycle like Blood Moon Hyper Voice, Blood Moon Hyper Voice. The other thing that I ended up doing was I actually ran a Fairy Terra Blood Moon.
Okay.
Because it gets access to Moonblast now. And typically this Pokemon doesn't like fighting type moves. So you can just Fairy Terra, not be weak to fighting type moves anymore. You think about the two things that Fairy is weak to. You got Steel and you got Poison. Ground takes care of both of those and you get Earth Power. And that's still your stab. So I don't know. There's a lot of cool things that this Pokemon can do. It's really, really strong. And it's just a matter of time. Is really it better than regular Ursaluna? I'm not 100% convinced yet. I think they each fill their own role, and I think that's perfect.
Yeah. I think of it as the answer to Iron Hands, the staple answer to Iron Hands. You can bring your own Ursaluna against enemy Iron Hands, but depending on how the speed and the Trick Room shakes out, one will always outspeed the other. If you want to, you can put some kind of speed investment, or not even put any kind of speed investment on your Ursaluna, Blood Moon, and assuming that your opponent is always going for min speed Iron Hands, you will always outspeed that outside of Trick Room, which cannot be said for Ursaluna regular.
Yeah, you're speed tying.
Just comparing those two Ursalunas, I do want to favor Blood Moon for that. Everything else, I think, is kind of whatever you want it to be. Just going back real quick to Ogerpon, because this illustrates that pretty well. If you have a team that you were before using, say, Tatsugiri or Gastrodon for what's called Storm Drain, now you can actually have Ogerpon in there and do like a full swap to get hit by Water Absorb. Now, of course, it doesn't mean that you're going to dodge the Urshifu Rapid Strikes. But if you swap into the right Pokemon, then it will absorb that. So
yeah, that's fair. I mean, they each do their own thing. I think when it comes down to which one will be faster, yeah, that's Blood Moon. Which one will hit you harder? That's probably regular Ursaluna with Guts.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, they fill different niches for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, the Ursaluna, the regular Ursaluna will always hit you harder. But if your team has use for a slower special attacker, then Ursaluna Blood Moon is definitely a high contender and does really well for what it's supposed to do. What does it have for special ground moves? Does it have anything?
It has Earth Power.
Okay.
Yeah,
well,
that's pretty much all it needs. Yeah,
I'll take that.
What I ended up doing was going Hyper Voice, Earth Power, Moonblast, and Blood Moon.
Okay.
On my Assault Vested set.
Neat. I like that a lot. I can imagine. All right. Well, those are the new Pokemon coming into the DLC, new to everything. We also have Pokemon that are new to Scarlet and Violet that are coming in from home. we have a long list of those Pokemon. We're going to get into the nuances that means later in another episode for sure. Because right now we're still, taking in what we've got here. But I will highlight for now two pretty big changes that some old Pokemon got coming into the game. We've got Empoleon and Shiftry. Empoleon has been its hidden ability has switched from Defiant to competitive. And that's huge. That's huge.
Because the thing with Defiant is that Empoleon doesn't want to be a physical attacker, right?
No.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I think Empoleon has a lot more special attack. Yeah, has 86 attack and 111 special attack. So it never needed Defiant, never wanted Defiant. Defiant never made a difference. So now you're just able to have an ability that makes a difference. Not only that, you're given an ability that is one, very, very strong and very, very limited. Right? There's pretty much the only competitive thing users I can think of off the top of my head are like Gothitelle and Milotic.
Sure.
That's it. So now welcome new water type has competitive.
Right. And I mean, thinking about what Defiant used to do for Empoleon, right? You had liquidation that you boosted, which I guess was good. You had, I don't know, wave crash that was pretty decent. But now you can use things like Hydro Pump and have that special attack boosted. That's pretty great. You always did get Flash Cannon, and now you can still use Flash Cannon, but have it be boosted.
It's just all around a good change. I think that's what the community has agreed on, is that this, whether or not it'll make a difference, doesn't matter. But it's nice that it changed because it needed to change. It didn't make any sense.
You can make it a surf spammer.
Ooh. Put it next to Ogerpon. Water Mask.
Ooh. Oh, that's really good. I like that. What? That's actually really cool. I thought about that for 20 seconds and I was like, wait a second. Yeah, I want that
tomorrow.
I'm going to do it. Anyway, that's Empoleon. Then the other one is Shiftry. Shiftry used to have Early Bird, and now it has Wind Rider, which thank you for giving Shiftry something. Because Shiftry is one of those Pokemon that I was always kind of curious about for Scarlet and Violet, because terrestrialization exists. Grass and Dark is a terrible typing. It's real bad.
It's interesting that they're making like this tailwind terrain, essentially. They're making it an archetype, which is cool. I was excited for this change until I just opened up this Shiftry Pokemon DB and then looked at its stats, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, no, it's bad, though.
Yeah, I mean, ew, yikes.
Yeah, 100 attack, 90 special attack, 480 base stats, and they distributed the attacks like that. Like,
yeah.
It's not great. If
they might have to do more for Shiftry. Just use Brambleghast instead.
Kind of. Okay, hold on. Can I do that? Let me look at Brambleghast's stats versus Shiftry's stats. Okay, we're comparing these two. Brambleghast is also a 480 base stat mon, though.
Yeah, but it's actually distributed in a nice way and not trying to be a special attacker.
It's not actually. What? Look at this. We've got 115 attack on Brambleghast, 100 attack on Shiftry, 80 special attack on Brambleghast, 90 special attack on Shiftry. It is a power crept Shiftry, but not that much.
Not by much.
No. Brambleghast's HP is 55 and Shiftry's is 90. So like Brambleghast, it dies. Like easy. I'm leaning toward Shiftry is better, actually. Because I mean, if you have Tailwind up, and you have double the speed and a +1 to your attack, it's okay.
Now that I'm looking at it back to back, they're only like 10 base stat difference on each of them. The only one that makes a big difference is the 90 HP.
And you remember, Brambleghast did well on like the videos that we brought in.
So maybe Shiftry is just waiting for its chance.
I think it might just be waiting for its chance. Yeah.
Give me a chance.
I can,
no one's used me.
If I put Tailwind and Sunny Day, I can hit a Solar Blade super fast with big attack.
Brother, you're trying to do 2 abilities at once. Relax. You can only do one at a time.
Yeah.
You're combining Chlorophyll and Wind Rider.
I will put a Heat Rock on a Torkoal. I will send it out, and then I'll beside it put a Tornadus. And turn 1, I'm gonna hit that Tailwind button. Torkoal will be fast, so I'm not going Trick Room. They're gonna knock one of my Pokemon out because that's a bad combination.
Or Overheat Eject Pack. You send yourself out of there.
Ooh, I like it. I like the way you think, Kevin. I'ma do it. We're gonna make Shiftry work here on Pokésports.
Is that your goal for the rest of this year?
The rest of this year? It's probably going to take me about as long. Yeah, that's true.
Also, big news. They extended, we didn't talk about this last week, but originally they had Regulation E only until the end of October. So it would end in November. Yeah. And they extended that to January 2nd of the new year. So we're going to have like 6 months of not 6, 5,
3,
4.
October,
no, you got
November,
November.
December.
Well, and September. Oh, wait, no, I'm wrong.
No.
Yeah. So they added an extra month to it. So that's nice.
That's interesting. It makes me wonder when they're going to drop the Indigo Disc, because if they were saying that they would only make Regulation E a month, it sounds like that was because they were at one point planning on dropping Indigo Disc somewhere inside that, so they could have Regulation F be inclusive of the Indigo Disc mods. But maybe they were also thinking that we'll give people a month of a new regulation, but we won't include all of the Pokemon that you get at the late stage of Teal Mask. But then someone said, oops, I included them in Reg D. So they're like, never mind. All right, I guess we're going to make it a regular regulation.
I made a tweet about this earlier today. It was like, it's a sad truth that we're at a point where we don't know if this was done on purpose or not. Where we have to question whether or not this was done on purpose.
Someone was I think this was definitely an oopsie moment that they just kind of ran with.
Oh, well, it's there now.
Because like there were people probably trying to make it to Master Ball today who are like, I didn't buy the DLC. My check comes in at the end of the week. I'm going to buy it then. At least until then, I can go and get Master Ball in Regulation D, because there are going to be less people playing today, I bet. Nope. There are probably people now with level 100 Ogerpons who got it and was immediately like, all right, EXP candies, mint, vitamins, you're on my team. Let's go. Who would do that? Who would do that?
No one would do that.
You did that.
I did that.
So I don't know. Those people got right on the ladder and made a video about it at 6 a.m. So
you know what's great about Ogerpon is the fact that you could have the exact same moveset for all 4 and they'll all do very different things, but all do the same thing at the same time.
Yeah. Ivy Cudgel's great.
Mm-hmm.
Ivy Cudgel is wicked. I can't wait to start using Ogerpon competitively. I think people are going to really be creative with it, and it's not going to have the same 4 moves like every other Pokemon has. I really hope so.
It's definitely going to have Ivy Cudgel.
Yeah. I mean, that's like making a Zacian without
Behemoth
Iron
Blade.
Bash Blade.
Iron big boy blade.
Big Sword Man. Cool. Well, that's that. Let's talk real quick about Pittsburgh. Because Pittsburgh happened, but that was like a year ago.
That was like forgotten because the DLC came out.
Yeah. BGC 2024 is what we're calling it now, because now we're in that circuit. The 2024 Pittsburgh Regional Championships happened September 9th and 10th. There were 424 Masters players who attended. If you were one of those people, I was not. And I hope you had a great time. And sorry that you were probably beaten by a lot of these guys.
Did we tell them that we're going to Toronto? We're going to Toronto, guys.
We're going to Toronto.
In case you guys are planning on it or haven't signed up for it and now want to go because we're going.
Yeah, go and do it. Signups for that have already dropped, and they dropped last Wednesday. So
they should still be up.
They're definitely still up. You're good. So go and get them. Anyway, top 4 was Riley Factura, Wolf Glick, Alberto Lara, and Aaron Trailer. Trailer was competing. That's cool.
Good players are good. Not a single Ogerpon to be seen because it didn't exist yet.
Yeah, where's all the Ogerpons?
Listen, I'll tell you what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a lot of Among Us. I'm seeing a lot of Heatran. I'm seeing a lot of Iron Hands.
I'm seeing a lot of Landorus. I'm seeing a lot of Fluttermane.
It's weird because the top 4 team all have no speed control, and apparently it doesn't matter.
Sure.
Like, that's just kind of what, like, no one needs Tailwind. Not many of them have Trick Room. Just 2 of them have Trick Room. And it's just on the crest. That's it. Just the Cresselia. I don't know. It feels like all the good competitive players just kind of agreed to stay in the middle tier, the middle speed tier, and that's that. Also, talking about Brambleghast came in 5th.
That's amazing.
That could have been Shiftry.
Ofomezi Amazel walked away with $1,000 bringing a Brambleghast. I love this. I love this so much. Brambleghast, Golden Go, Chi-Yu, Tornadus, Urshifu, and Fluttermane. Not a bad winnings for bringing the Tumbleweed.
Hey, base 480 stats. Could have
I'm
been
telling you, man, if you bring a Pokemon with a purpose and it fulfills that purpose, it's a good Pokemon. So if Brambleghast can fit that, why can't Shiftry? Look at this team and tell me that Shiftry cannot be replaced for this Brambleghast.
I can't say that it can't.
Exactly.
Oh, something I didn't even consider. This also does imply that Shiftry is no longer weak to Blizzard, is no longer weak to Heat Wave, is no longer weak to Overheat, is no longer weak to any of the wind moves.
Oh.
Yeah, because that's what kind of makes Brambleghast good. Overheat isn't a wind move? I think it is.
Well, let's see. Wind Rider. That's for sure.
I know, like Hurricane, Blizzard.
Wait, why is it not showing me this?
Should be a list of what it is. Science with Pokésports.
Okay. So not Overheat, Heat Wave.
Oh, is it just Heat Wave?
Yeah, Heat Wave is the only fire one. There is one of most types actually. That's a wind move. You got Windbolt Storm, Whirlwind, Twister, Tailwind, Springtide Storm, Sandstorm, Sandsear Storm, Bleak Wind Storm. Very relevant.
Icy Wind.
Air Cutter, Blizzard, Icy Wind, Fairy Wind, Heat Wave, Gust, Hurricane, Petal Blizzard,
etc.
A lot of the ones that I listed are
wind moves. Now we have to remember what wind moves are.
I think it's pretty easy to remember, right?
There's like 17.
If it blows hard, then it's
it no good work. Yes.
Yeah. Like Blizzard, obviously, right? That's why it brought up a red flag when you said Overheat. I was like, that doesn't sound like a whooshy move. But then I didn't want to say Heat Wave because I wasn't sure. Anyway, yeah, Heat Wave is in there though, and that could make Shiftry pretty good. Just saying,
better than before.
Better than before.
I will agree with you at better than before.
Good, thank you. Thank you for giving that one to me. Yeah, so Pittsburgh, Alberto came in with 2,000, as did Aaron Trailer. Walked away, I guess, with 2,000 and 130 CP. This is the first tournament where we can see these new rules and prizing in action, which is really, really cool. To see $2,000 go to the third and fourth place people. It's pretty sweet. Wolf Glick ended up coming in second with 160 CP and $4,000, which is great. Amazing that they were able to do that. And then Riley Factura, who is a new name to me, who I haven't heard of before.
Gengar Boy on Twitter.
There you go.
He's a 5-time Pokemon regional first place. So no, he's been around.
He's been around. Okay, great. Ended up with 200 CP, $6,000, and a 2024 Worlds invite. That rocks.
Well, I guess he's done. Stay home.
He doesn't need to do anything. He's done.
You got no more regionals left.
I would say, like, you know, if you won that one and you still have the rest of the year, just maybe go to a couple other ones. Go to ones that are close to you and go and enjoy your time.
Yeah, fair.
Go in with some experimental things, or go in with like the most meta team that you possibly can and just see
Shiftry.
See how well you compete. Yeah. Bring Shiftry, please. I'm gonna let you know how Shiftry does. I'm gonna figure it out, man.
That's your project now.
It's my project now, exactly.
Shiftry and Tornadus team.
It's there. I've seen people do it. I've seen people get 5th with Brambleghast. One guy, one person.
Is possible.
Anything is possible. Anyway, I'm gonna go follow him on Twitter now. There you go. Cool. Teach me the way. All right. Is that all?
Is that a podcast?
I think that's a
podcast. Did you ask a question last week?
I did, but I can't answer it right now because it's.
I can't answer it. It's too late.
We've done this for too long. Yeah, next week we'll have more to talk about. I don't want to lose it all right now. We've got the home Pokemon to talk about. We've got the first week of competitive to talk about next week.
That's going to be exciting. Talk about sleep this week.
We don't need to talk about sleep, dude. We're getting no sleep. Pokemon sleep.
Okay. Junior.
I need to tell you that is Mime Junior a new Pokemon?
It just got added. Yes.
I see.
It's an ingredients mon.
The thing happened that I thought would happen with Pokemon Sleep, which was the second a new game came out, I would forget all about Pokemon Sleep.
Oh no.
Yeah. I did not do breakfast, lunch, or dinner for my Snorlax today.
What are you playing?
What?
What are you playing?
The DLC. This game, the game that we just spent an hour and 50 minutes talking about in total.
I get that, but I still played Sleep. Pikachu was sleeping with Mary's
I forgot to hit the button, okay?
I didn't. I was like, here, I'm going to leave this Pokeball right next to you, honey. Have a great night. I'm going to go play Pokemon in the other room.
Yeah.
While this tracks your sleep.
Well, because I got mad at my plus the other day because I had to go and record Tuesday's episode. And so I hit the button before I left the house, and that was at like 9 p.m. Right. I come back home. I go to sleep. I wake up the next morning. It's like 7:30 and I hit the button again. And it was like, oh, you've been asleep too long. We didn't track all of your time. And then it gave me 75 for spending 10 hours asleep. But because it's not on the bed, it was punished. I got punished. I got punished for sleeping too long. Because I think I was in one cycle for way too long because it just kind of sat on my shelf rather than the bed.
Yeah.
Nobody else was anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered. But
it thought you died.
It thought I died. So it thought that I just had 10 hours of deep sleep, and that is impossible. You'd be dead.
That is death, yes.
Yeah. So it's like there's no way you press this button again. Anyway, so it gave me 75 points and I got real mad at it because I tried real hard to get 100 for all the days this week. That's what I wanted to do. And then I missed all of yesterday. So
try and get the perfect streak. Oh, so now you're just discouraged. So now you're
I was discouraged.
Mike is in a downward sleep spiral right now.
Well, but also I'm in a downward sleep spiral because I didn't sleep much. Yeah, but I will. I'll get back into it this week. I'll go and get that Mime Junior.
Yeah,
cool. All right, well, folks. Before we leave, I do want to leave everybody with this final message. Do remember that although we were all having fun in the Teal Mask, there was once a Pokemon that was released in Scarlet and Violet named Pommy, and it evolved into a Pokemon named Pomo. And its evolution, do you know what it did for its evolution, Kevin?
It became a Pomot.
It stood up. No, between Pommy and Pomo, it stopped being on all fours and it stood up. That was its evolution. They made an animation for it. Don't know why. They could have just made it stand up.
Yeah.
I had that thought today. That thought crossed my mind today because I was playing Pokemon Go. I've been playing a lot more Pokemon Go lately, and they just released a bunch of Paldean Pokemon. I caught a Pommy, I caught a bunch of Pommies, and I evolved it into a Pomo. And it turned from a Pommy to a Pomo and just stood up, and that was it.
Am I going to also remind you that Pommy is the same Pokemon whose German name is Pomo,
yep.
Pomamo, and Pomamamo.
Yeah. Let's all have a very concerted effort here to not forget that. Please. I would like everyone to remember. Never forget. Pommy turns into Pomo. Pomo turns into Pomamo, turns into Pomamamo.
Perfect.
Yeah. Good night, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.